guys, my name is Maria and this is Samson and welcome to another video.
I like it, I go la 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 la. I like it, I just wah 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 wah. Oh baby, say it and make it.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I have Samson with me today, as he always is, my co-host. And for today's video, I am going to be doing my November wrap-up. I honestly cannot believe that it's already December and that we are almost right at 2025. And I can't wait. I think it's going to be a great year. But with that, let's get into the video. Now, as always, I'm going to be going from my least favorite book of the month to my most favorite book.
You know the drill.
And like previous month, I read 3 books for the month of November, and I'm pretty happy about that. I was reading consistently every single day. Of course, as I have mentioned before, I do not read fast, so you know, I just went at the pace that felt comfortable to me. And the books that I read this month, I also really enjoyed most of them. So let's begin. So the first book that I read in the month of November was One Perfect Couple by Ruth Ware. I have actually read 2 or 3 other Ruth Ware books and I enjoyed all of them. And I actually think that this was my least favorite one. Okay, now I'm gonna read the synopsis. It says, Lila is in a bit of a rut. Her postdoctoral research has fizzled out. She's pretty sure they won't extend her contract, and things with her boyfriend Nico, an aspiring actor, aren't going great. When the opportunity arises for Nico to join the cast of a new reality TV show, The Perfect Couple, she decides to try out with him. A whirlwind audition process later, Lila finds herself whisked off to a tropical paradise with Nico, boating through the Indian Ocean towards Ever After Island, where the 2 of them will compete against 4 other couples, Bayer and Angel, Dan and Santana, Joel and Rami, and Connor and Zana, in order to win a cash prize. But not long after they arrive on the deserted island, things start to go wrong.
Dun dun dun.
After the first challenge leaves everyone rattled and angry, an overnight storm takes matters from bad to worse. Cut off from the mainland by miles of ocean, deprived of their phones, and unable to contact the crew that brought them there, the group must band together for survival. As tensions run high and fresh water runs low, Lila finds that this game show is all too real, and the stakes are life or death. This book, man, I really wanted to love it. I really did, but I think that this was my favorite. This was my first survival trope book, and I think it's probably going to be one of my last, because I think for myself, after reading this book, I found out that survival trope is really not for me.
So unfortunate.
I kind of like when the characters aren't focused on trying to stay alive. I like when the characters are having intrigue and there's drama and, you know, they're not focused on trying not to die, because that's just like, I don't know, that just puts the stakes even higher, and then we're not focusing on who the bad guy is anymore. We're just kind of focusing on the characters staying alive. And I really did not like that. Not gonna lie, this was not my favorite book by this author. Sorry guys if the lighting changed. It got a little bit darker. I had to get my kids off the bus, so we're just gonna go with it. So also I found that the pace of this book was problematic because it kind of dragged.
Oh my god, it was insane. And it went on and on. Like on and on.
Like once all the stuff happened and they were stuck on the island, it was just kind of their day-to-day monotonous life every single day, you know, trying to ration and stuff like that. And I just found that so, come on. Hi. Hi. And I just found that so boring. Like nothing happened for a good 70% of this book. And since this book was like almost 400 pages, or something like that, I really think that it could have profited from maybe being 100 pages shorter, because it just did not need to be that long. And also, there really was no like trying to figure out who the bad guy was. We kind of found out very early who the bad guy was, and after that, it was just kind of really boring. And I mean, I don't think it's a bad book because the story was okay, and I would say it was pretty unique, at least for me. Even though I haven't read a lot of survival thrillers before, but I think that people that enjoy the survival trope will probably enjoy this book because I think it was good and I enjoyed the characters. However, I did not enjoy the writing. I don't know what it was, but this Ruth Ware, for some reason, it did not feel like it was written by the same author.
Am I making any sense at all?
And this was a bummer because it just didn't flow. And for that reason, it took me even longer to finish this book because I just did not feel like picking it up. And I had to reread a bunch of the parts just because it was not flowing. And I really just did not vibe with this book at all. And with that said, I did give it 3 stars, so it was an okay book. I didn't particularly hate it, I just didn't particularly like it either. So it's definitely not a bad book, and I would recommend it for maybe people who love Ruth Ware, because I do think that it's a pretty good book by her, or people that love survival thrillers and like trying to see if a group of people can survive on a deserted island.
To each his own.
In like a locked room mystery. Also, you know, when people start dropping dead as well. I think that you would maybe like it if you like that kind of stuff, but for me, it really was not good at all. Also, I think that I don't like survival tropes because they're just so out there. I don't know, they don't seem very plausible to me, and for that reason, it's kind of hard to relate and put myself in the character's shoes. So for that reason, also didn't like it very much. I did like how everything was tied at the end with a nice little bow. I thought that was pretty nice for how long it took me to read this, which was over 2 weeks, which I think is the longest it's taken me to read any thriller in the last few months.
This is like unacceptable.
So, yep, that is One Perfect Couple by Ruth Ware. So the second book that I read, this is not in order. I think I actually read this book last, but it was Camp Slaughter by Sergio Gomez. And I picked this book up because I've been reading so many thrillers. I thought that maybe I should like venture out and see if I would like horror, and this one seemed like a good pick because it's kind of like a slasher, and I love slasher movies, so I thought that maybe I would enjoy it in book form. And actually, at first, I was really enjoying it, but by the end, it really was just not for me.
Huge disappointment.
So, Camp Slaughter, which is on Kindle Unlimited, by the way, is the first in a series of 3 books, which I don't know if they're completed, but I don't know if I'm going to be reading the other books. We will see. So, the book description says, it's a local legend. No one is sure if this Camp Slaughter place is real or not, but a group of college kids renting out a cabin deep in the woods of Pennsylvania will soon realize the truth. They'll realize the danger too, or rather the cannibal out in the woods will bring the danger to them. So again, I really enjoyed the book. I would say the first 60%, maybe even a little bit less. But after that, it just kind of started going off the rails and I just really lost me.
No, like that's too much.
So, as I have said, this was my first ever horror book, and at first I really could not put it down. It had everything that my thrillers have been missing lately. Like, it was super fast-paced. The story was really interesting. The characters were interesting enough, but ultimately it just really fell flat. Once the murders really started happening and the kills started happening in the book just kind of just got ruined for me, because the killings were just go, they were just nonstop, and I kind of felt a little bit of a whiplash. Like, I couldn't take a breather. We were on to the next crazy kill, and even though I enjoy a good slasher, I just feel like it was way over the top.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
It jumped up a notch.
It did, didn't it?
And I did not like how many kills there were and how fast they were. So for that reason, I just did not enjoy this book. And I think that maybe if it had just the perfect amount of kills for me and they were spaced out perfectly, I think I would really have enjoyed this, and I would have probably given it 4 stars at least. But because it was just too much for me, too fast, I had to give it 3 stars. And from other booktubers that I have watched that have rated this book and read it and rated it, I remember a lot of them saying how amazing the villain in this book was. And I definitely agree to an extent. I think it was nice to see like what made him the way that he is, and why he goes about killing in the way that he does.
I mean, that's fascinating.
But I just think that we didn't get enough background on this guy and like enough of his childhood growing up to really justify like how much he killed and the way that he killed everybody. It was really hard for me to kind of connect those two. It just did not seem plausible. And also, just really, maybe it's the psychologist in me, but I really think that a lot of the kills were just done for the shock factor and not for anything else, not to drive the story forward or anything, just for the shock factor. And I really do not think that I like that at all.
I've got opinions.
So, I mean, it's nice that I'm figuring out my taste in books, and this one didn't work out for me either, just like the last one. But, will I be trying more horror in the future and maybe reading the rest of the books in this series? Definitely. It just will not be for a while. I think that for now I'm going to be sticking to my thrillers, my beloved thrillers, because those have been going a lot better for me than this horror trial that I tried with this book. So 3 stars. Not bad. Would recommend for people who don't care about gore and gruesomeness in books. I think you would really enjoy this because it was fast-paced, the writing was pretty quick, it flowed pretty well, and I think that it's a really easy book to get through. Just wasn't really as easy as I would have liked it to get through for me.
Decent, but hardly spectacular.
And now we are at my last book that I read in November, and that was Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. I actually picked this book up because I have read majority of Riley Sager books in the past, and I really just tend to pick his books up when I haven't really had good luck with books. And you know, it's really fast-paced. I really like his writing, so it's a pretty safe bet that I'm going to give his books pretty good rating, and this definitely happened in this case. This was actually my only 4-star of the month. I had no 5 stars. It's not great. Which sucks, but hopefully I will be able to find some next month or maybe even next year. And this was actually probably my least favorite Riley Sager book, but it was still good, and I still really enjoyed it. So the description says, the worst thing to ever happen on Hemlock Circle occurred in Ethan Marsh's backyard. What? One July night, 10-year-old Ethan and his best friend and neighbor Billy fell asleep in a tent set up on a manicured lawn in a quiet, quaint New Jersey cul-de-sac. In the morning, Ethan woke up alone. During the night, someone had sliced the tent open with a knife and taken Billy. He was never seen again. 30 years later, Ethan has reluctantly returned to his childhood home. Plagued by bad dreams and insomnia, he begins to notice strange things happening in the middle of the night.
Oh, God.
Someone seems to be roaming the cul-de-sac at odd hours, and signs of Billy's presence keep appearing in Ethan's backyard. Is someone playing a cruel prank? Or has Billy, long thought to be dead, somehow returned to Hemlock Circle? The mysterious occurrences prompt Ethan to investigate what really happened that night. A quest that reunites him with former friends and neighbors and leads him into the woods that surround Hemlock Circle. Woods where Billy claimed monsters roamed and where a mysterious institute does clandestine research on a crumbling estate. The closer Ethan gets to the truth, the more he realizes that no place, be it quiet forest or suburban street, is completely safe, and that the past has a way of haunting the present.
Holy
So I gave this book 4 stars, as I've said. It was a great book. I thought that the writing style really flowed, as is usually the case with Riley Sager books. It's part of the reason why I tend to read all of them. I have one more book to read, and that is the only one left. And I can't wait to get to that one. Maybe I'll make it like a palate cleanser when I really need a little pick-me-up after maybe a pretty bad book. So this book, it was really good. It was not a 5-star just because I think I do not like books that center around like little kids, where I'm okay when a little kid is part of the mystery, but not when it's like the whole mystery. And in this case, it was.
Still really good.
Also, this author is really known to always write female main characters, and I relate to those more, even though it's a man who's writing these books. I think that he's really not bad at writing female main characters, and in this case, I think this was his first male main character, and even though I still enjoyed reading from his perspective, I just could not relate to him as much as I could relate to the female main characters in his previous books. And as is the tradition seems to have been last month. I think that this book, again, did not need to be as long as it was. Even though the writing flowed, the chapters were really short. Samson, what? The chapters were really short, so it was really easy to get through, and it definitely helped to get through the book faster. I just really think that it could have been cut down by like 100 pages, maybe a little bit less.
Okay, this is the bitter truth.
But I just don't know why thriller books lately have to be so long, because I feel like the author could get across to us a lot more and a lot deeper with shorter books. I really don't think that they need to be extended as much as they have been. And even with that though, I really had a fun time reading this book, and I kind of figured out who the bad guy was, but I'm starting to think that it's because of how many thrillers I've read, especially recently, that I'm kind of having an easier time figuring out who the bad guy is. And in this case, I did, which was still okay because I still wanted to know if I was right, and I was.
Good job. Good job.
But there were still a lot of other twists and turns that I did not see coming and that I did not guess. So it was still really a fun time. And I liked how the story was wrapped up nicely. Everything was kind of just tied in a nice bow, and there was nothing left for me to ponder, which I really appreciate, because as I have mentioned before, I hate ambiguous endings, and I like that Riley Sager is not one of them, one of those authors that does ambiguous endings. So really just enjoyed this. Also, even though there are some tropes in this book that are not particularly my favorite, I think that people who love Riley Sager books will enjoy this one, although I will say that it kind of feels a bit different from his previous ones. Not in a bad way, just different.
What?
And I like that he is venturing out and trying new things. So I will definitely be picking up all the rest of his books in the future. So this was my only 4-star. Highly recommend. I think thriller readers of all kinds will enjoy this book. And so those are all the 3 books that I have read in the month of November. Now we're in December, and I'm hoping to read even more great books. Hopefully I find a 5-star this month. Samson, what's going on, man? Is making weird noises. I think he wants me to put him back in his cage. But please, if you guys enjoyed this video, share, subscribe, comment, like. Really would help me out. I'm still a really new channel, and I'm really enjoying making these videos.
I'm loving every minute of this.
So let me know if it helps you guys at all in maybe finding new books that you would never have picked up on your own. And if you guys have any recommendations for me for thrillers, please put them in the comments below. Maybe it could also help somebody else find another good recommendation for them to read. So please, guys. And with that, that's gonna do it for us and for our video for today. I'm sorry it's gotten a lot darker. When I first started, it was still pretty light out, and now that it's getting colder and the day's getting shorter, it's getting darker a lot earlier.
I hate that.
And I don't know how the lighting is gonna be at this point, but we gotta make do with what we got, right, buddy? And so with that, I really hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and we're going to go make some dinner, right, bud? Yep. Bye, guys. Bye.